gang are present at the appraisal of the Orion Crown, with the disguised Lupin working as the appraiser for the crime boss Jaguar. He confirms its authenticity and Tatsumaki, one of the bidders, vouches for Jaguar. Lupin offers protests and Jigen and Goemon, working for Jaguar and Tatsumaki respectively, shut him up. Probably enjoyed doing that a bit more than they should have. The auction begins and Fujiko, acting independently, puts in a bid of 2 million, causing Tatsumaki to outbid her at 2.5. Tatsumaki is short by $500,000 despite this, so arranges to settle the remaining money the next night. Fujiko visits Lupin and explains she plans to make off with the crown and the money at the deal the following night, guessing Lupin's own plan to steal the crown en route. The next day, disguising as a barber, Lupin gets info from Jigen on Jaguar, finding out he has a prosthetic arm and about his top henchman Black Cat. He then seeks out Goemon and learns of Tatsumaki's plans and his henchman Black Cloud. Lupin watches that night as the deal goes down, but is interrupted by Zenigata raiding the house. He loses his grip and gets caught in the crossfire, only to be rescued by Fujiko. Fujiko tells Lupin she tips Zenigata off in order to grab the crown and the money in the confusion. They sneak into the room where the deal was going down but are spotted, and Jaguar fires pin missiles at Lupin from his arm. Zenigata moves in but only finds a collapsed escape route. Lupin and Fujiko emerge after he leaves, with Lupin only now noticing the pins, saved by a wad of cash he stole. Said cash has repercussions on both sides, as Tatsumaki feels that the money was already paid and Jaguar wants the money that was stolen. Lupin gives the others an idea on how to move from here, with the dog with the mic listening in. Jigen and Goemon suggest to their bosses to patch things up on the surface, but to offer a forged crown and counterfeit money. The deal goes down at a warehouse that night, with Lupin making another appearance as the appraiser. He calls out the forgeries and lets the fight play out before tipping off Zenigata. Goemon takes out Jaguar and Jigen Tatsumaki, with Cloud and Cat performing a mutual kill. Lupin's beaten to the prize by Fujiko, the owner of the dog. Zenigata spots her as she leaves the warehouse and gives chase. He knocks her into the water and she loses the crown, though he's left with an exploding decoy when he pulls them back up. Lupin rescues Fujiko, but she dives back under for the crown, unaware the dog got it. Definitely one of the strongest episodes in a while. We get a look at some other thieves in Lupin's underworld, a case of honour among thieves, or lack thereof, the gang playing the bidders, Fujiko playing the gang, and a lot of great action. The archaeologist Marukido has discovered a 2,000-year-old casket in the village of Heburai. Even stranger is that there's a statue of Mary inside held by a woman who is seemingly still alive. Lupin plans to steal the statue, but Jigen and Goemon have reservations. No Shadow on Zantetsuken or anything, but a bad fortune nonetheless. Lupin goes it alone, scouting out Zenigata's security, an electrified safe. Meanwhile, the woman has gone missing, and Jigen and Goemon spot a strange wolf and carriage heading in Lupin's direction. Lupin has cracked the safe using a remote-controlled device, but is intercepted by the wolf. Lupin chases, but ends up crashing into the carriage. In the wreckage, he finds a casket and sees the name Camilla. The woman from before is back inside, and Lupin takes her to another doctor. He spots a pair of holes on her neck, hinting at her true nature. She disappears again, and Lupin finds her awake in a graveyard. She moves to kiss him, aiming for the neck, but Jigen and Goemon intervene, revealing she's a vampire. She runs and Lupin follows, revealing fangs as he leaves. Jigen and Goemon follow Lupin to Heburai, where the casket was found and where Jesus died according to a man named Presley. Jigen calls Presley out on it, and Goemon reveals it's a disguised Fujiko. Fujiko tells them that she saw Lupin pass by looking strange. They head out to a house on Mount Onihime, close to Camilla's castle, and set up garlic and crosses to keep Lupin away. He comes in anyway and kidnaps Fujiko, bringing her to Camilla's castle. Camilla reveals that soon her vampire brethren will awaken, and then Fujiko will serve as a sacrifice. Sure enough, the vampires rise and dance to Camilla's music. Camilla reveals her origins, and I'm not making this one up. She's the twin sister of Jesus, who was abandoned by Mary and Joseph and raised by a wolf, for being a vampire. Goemon and Jigen appear in disguise and reveal they knew Lupin wasn't a vampire when the garlic didn't work. They're given away by the fact that they have reflections, however, with the ensuing fight heading outside. Regular attacks don't work, but Jigen is able to deflect them with his garlic, and Goemon uses Zantetsuken to make a makeshift cross, which attracts a bolt of lightning and kills the vampires. Lupin decides to leave the statue in the local church, tricking Zenigata into thinking its return is some divine intervention and sending him on a wild goose chase after him. I've mentioned what I call mythical episodes before, and this is probably one of the ones that will stick out the most. I mean, Jesus having a twin sister who's also a vampire. I suppose it beats out having Dracula again for anything, so you know, something unique. It does feel like the defeat was a bit abrupt though. The gang are in Africa with their sights on Lady Lockhound's Black Pearl. Not even Zenigata could predict that a trio of gorillas would attack, however. They steal the pearl and Lupin pursues by car. Gorillas are very good drivers apparently. They manage to chase the gorillas down to a factory site, but the car seems to disappear after that. Fujiko suggests drawing them back out by staging another party, asking for a bunch of jewels Lupin has recently stolen for authenticity. Definitely no other motive there. Posing as Duke Papanlu, well, I suppose it's a better name than just spelling it backwards at any rate. He messes with Zenigata before setting the party up. Fujiko's gone to great extent to make it seem genuine, but the display she ordered contains the gorillas, who attack and kidnap Fujiko. Jigen and Goemon chase them and Zenigata follows. Jigen suggests a pincer attack with Zenigata to box the gorillas in, but this ends up backfiring on him. The gorillas are lifted away by crane, which Lupin witnesses due to having gone ahead to the site. He meets back up with the others, but their car runs out of fuel. Following the tyre tracks, they find a hut where they discover that only one actual gorilla is in this gang. They wait until nightfall and hook the hut to some ropes, discovering they're under Fujiko's employ. The house uproots due to the rope's tension, and Goemon cuts a hole in the roof to get the jewels back. Zenigata's also tracked them down by this point too and launches an attack on the hut. The gang jump back out and Goemon cuts the ropes, allowing them to slingshot away. Fujiko has trouble hanging on and slips from Lupin. He saves her, but loses the jewels in the process. After the last episode, this could have gone equally as bizarre, and it's probably for the best that it didn't. Certainly seems to start that way, but as it goes on, it goes into the more familiar Fujiko being a reliable traitor territory. A bit like Series 1 Episode 16 in a way. They do telegraph it a bit too obviously at times though, such as Fujiko suggesting a bunch of expensive jewellery for the fake party. As the title suggests, the gang are on the way to Sugikage Castle in search of the deceased Kurenari's treasure. This includes something Goemon's most interested in, the sword of Tsukikage Maru. On the way, they're attacked by a flaming net, a technique recognised by Goemon as originating from the Fuma Clan. The car is totaled as usual, but they manage to outrun the pursuers and into view of the castle. It's become a popular tourist spot, with a woman who organises tea ceremonies catching the gang's eyes. Exploring the castle, they find a scroll describing some cryptic clues about a tree, the sun, a mountain and the moon. Their continued exploration is interrupted by gunfire, as Jigen has been ambushed by the Fuma and blinded by their bat patrol. Goemon takes them out because, let's face it, bats are always a nuisance, and they take Jigen to safety. Jigen refuses a doctor as the powder will wear off in a day or so, and they retire to a hotel. Goemon senses someone in their room, but it turns out to just be Fujiko. Fujiko asks about the riddle, and Lupin spots a faulty sign that points him in the right direction, the Northeastern Demon Tower. Infiltrating the castle again, they find a clock whose hands are glued in place. Unable to figure it out, they head back to the hotel, but Lupin tires himself out figuring the mystery. Goemon suggests calling it a day as this was more his heist than theirs, and Fujiko offers to take Jigen to a doctor. She doesn't get far as Jigen is kidnapped by the Fuma. On top of that, Zenigata has also caught up to the gang. He's his usual one-track minded self, but does let slip that Fujiko is currently in Tokyo. The woman, who was also the tea lady, unmasks and introduces herself as Shinobu Fuma, warning them to meet the exchange of the clock solution for Jigen's life. Lupin figures it out and tells them that the clock hands point to the fish statues on the rooftops. There are two, and Lupin tells them to go for the left. The gang follow the Fuma that night, with Goemon spotting a transport kite. He pilots his own, handling himself even without Lupin to tether him. Zenigata's on guard, but Jigen distracts him while Lupin infiltrates. The Fuma have beaten Lupin to the statue, however, and they are lifted away. Too bad for them, Lupin neglected to mention that the clock's pendulum was pointing to the right. A stash of gold coins are inside, along with the sword. Zenigata orders a police raid on Lupin as they escape, resorting to throwing coins in an attempt to thwart them. I should probably explain that last bit, seeing as I didn't back in my pilot video. See, Zenigata is also from a family line. Heiji Zenigata is a fictional Edo police officer who throws coins to knock out criminals. Lupin Zenigata is the 8th generation descendant of him. As for the episode itself, it's nice to see that someone besides Lupin has an interest in the treasure of the heist. Plus we get to see that Goemon's no slouch when it comes to thievery that can make use of his abilities, besides cutting stuff with a really sharp sword. It's telegraphed a bit too obviously that Fujiko was the Fuma, but they do prove effective enough as adversaries regardless. While they won't be appearing again in Series 2, it's not the last we'll be seeing of them either. Next time, a legend connecting Genghis Khan and Yoshitsune, a heist in Hong Kong, and a whole lot of diamonds, as we reach episode 40. Until then.